Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with coverage of the penultimate round, round 13 of the 2018 Candidates Tournament. And to celebrate the end of the Candidates Tournament, I'm giving away a chess book today and also one tomorrow. So 2 chess books up for grabs in the next 2 videos. And they are made available by the Mind Game Shop. You see it there in the top left of the screen. That's my sponsor. The link is in the description box. The Mind Game Shop is an online chess web shop, and please click on the link and have a look what they have on offer. And if you order something from them, that's even better. This book is today's prize, which I will raffle. It's the book David vs. Goliath, and I'm reading on the back of the book, How Does an Amateur Beat a Top Grandmaster? David vs. Goliath features 111 remarkable upsets suffered by the likes of Magnus Carlsen, Vishwanathan Anand, Vladimir Kramnik, Garry Kasparov, Anatoly Karpov and Mikhail Tal. So you can win this book, and at the end of the video I will tell you how you can win it. But first we have to play some chess. Round 13. It's getting very exciting and very tense. The round was played on Monday, March 26th, and these were the pairings. Shahryar Mamedyarov played Alexander Grishuk, Ding Liren played Vladimir Kramnik, Wesley So played Sergei Karjakin, and Fabiano Caruana played Levon Aronian. I'll give you the results at the end of the video, but first let's look at the game from Fabiano Caruana, the joint leader after round 12, against Levon Aronian, who has a nightmare tournament. He was the pre-tournament favorite, but is now in bottom position. But Kuti spoiled the party for Fabiano Caruana. Let's see what happened. e4 from Caruana, e5 from Aronian, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, we are in the Spanish, the Ruy Lopez, bishop a4, knight f6, castling from Caruana, bishop e7, rook e1, kicking the bishop again, bishop b3, and Aronian castled, d3, d6, and bishop d2. And Fabiano Caruana called this afterwards a brilliant opening invention introduced by Grishuk in the previous round of this tournament. And he said it was a lot of fun to analyze a totally fresh position on the rest day yesterday. And he said this is a new chapter in the anti-martial. Bishop g4, c3, d5, h3, bishop back, queen e2, rook b8, bishop g5, pawns were swapped in the center, h6, and the bishop went back to c1. Caruana said, I was lucky to get my preparation on the board till here, and that's what I wanted, a playable position where the game doesn't simplify immediately. Bishop g6 was played by Aronian, and that must have been the first move that Caruana did not analyze with his team. It's threatening to take on e4, which is attacked by 2 pieces, defended by the queen, which is not a good defending piece. So knight bd2, knight h5, knight f1, bishop c5, g3, king h7, king g2, queen e7, bishop c2, rook fd8, b4, bishop back, and a4, gaining space on the queen side. Knight back to f6, and here Caruana played knight h4. Caruana was asked in the press conference after the game if he had considered a takes b5, and he said, yes, I saw this option, but I didn't want to let the game out of control, which I later managed to do anyway. Maybe this was a good option. A takes b5 is the variation that they looked at. Queen takes, then bishop takes f2 with a discovered attack on white's queen. But the knight is hanging. Bishop takes e1, knight takes e1. White has 2 pieces for a rook. And Caruana said if black can manage to trade queens, then it's not going to be so easy, because all white's pawns are weak, as Caruana said. So he didn't go for that, he chose knight h4. He did not want to let the game out of control. Queen e6 and bishop d3. He also looked at knight takes g6, f takes, and then bishop d3. They looked at rook f8, but he said the move he played in the game, bishop d3, was more ambitious than knight takes g6, but it's also giving black some counterplay. And he said I should not have allowed that counterplay. So maybe knight takes g6 was a better move. After bishop d3, Aronian played bishop h5. Khurana showed this line. He said this is one important line, so let me show it to you. Knight e7 instead of bishop h5. Then taking on g6, the knight takes back. Then take on b5. A takes b5. Bishop takes b5, winning a pawn. And now it's not good to take on f2. Black's idea is here that if you take back with the king, which is a bad move, then there is queen b6 check with a double attack. Check and attacking the bishop with 2 pieces. But after bishop takes f2, you do not take back, you play the in-between move bishop c4, hitting black's queen. And after queen c6, then you take on f2 and you don't have that double attack to deal with. So this variation was shown by Khurana, and that started with knight e7. But bishop h5 was played in the game by Aronian, hitting white's queen. g4, and now the press officer asked, why did you not go back with your bishop? And Khurana explained for Aronian that this is not an option. It's the worst of all worlds, he says. You're losing a pawn, and that he must have meant the b5 pawn. And white has consolidated his center. If you want to avoid complications, you should have not gone for bishop h5 in the first place. So bishop g6 was dismissed, and indeed Aronian sacrificed a piece. H takes, and here black can take with the queen as well. Khurana showed this variation. Then there's queen takes, knight takes, bishop e2, bishop takes f2, that pawn is hanging. Rook d1, bishop takes h4, and bishop takes g4. And the conclusion that Khurana gave is that black gets 3 pawns for the piece, but the pawns are not really moving. And the knight on c6 is also a bad piece, so this is still good for white. So all that after h takes d4 and then taking with the queen, but Aronian took with the knight. Knight f5 was played by Khurana, and here Khurana said he had expected queen g6, and then knight 1 g3 was looked at. Bishop takes f2, rook f1, bishop takes g3, knight takes g3. And Khurana said this is bad for black. My king is safe, and the 3 extra pawns are not moving anywhere, and I'll pick up the b5 pawn at some point. So queen g6 was what Khurana expected, but it's not good for black. He played knight takes f2 instead. Bishop c2, and now g6 from Aronian, attacking the knight, and mortal souls will just play the knight back to e3, but Khurana said this is very unclear, and he showed a very nice variation. He showed knight h3, and then knight d5. He said this knight is not stable. It can't be supported by the other knight, as we'll see in a minute. Knight g1 was the next move, hitting the queen. Of course, protected by the bishop. Queen d3, then knight e7. And if you indeed then play knight fe3 to stabilize your knight on d5, then black has a draw. Queen h3 check. You take the knight. Queen g3 check with a perpetual. King f1, you have to protect your rook, otherwise it gets taken. Queen f3 check, king g1, queen g3 check, and we have a perpetual, a very difficult variation, but not for these super grandmasters. So after g6, knight 5 e3 is very unclear according to Khurana, and he played knight 1 to e3. His knight on f5 was taken. E takes f5, hitting the queen, and of course this knight is also hanging. Queen f6, queen takes knight, and e4. After the game, while Caruana and Aronian were waiting for their turn at the press conference, Aronian was told by a friend about this move, the computer move, instead of e4, to play knight takes b4. C takes b4 and then rook d4. Aronian said that he had missed this idea and also Caruana had not seen it. Khurana saw this in the analysis and said, "This is incredibly strong. And it's also beautiful," he said. They looked at king h3, rook g8, and they said that rook f4 is coming. And Khurana said, "I don't see my next move." Objectively, this position is around equal, but black has a great initiative here. In time trouble, this is a great option for black. Turning the tables. But after queen takes f2 in the game, Aronian did not see knight takes b4. He played e4. White is winning here, but he's in time trouble and there's so much at stake. Rook h1. Khurana said, "Here I started my own counter-attack." Rook d6. Bishop takes e4. Khurana said, "I thought I was winning, but I was nervous. I had around 7 minutes left here." This is move 33. 7 minutes to get to move 40 with a 30-second increment per move. Aronian gave a check. King stepped back to f1. Knight e5. Queen f4. c6. Both players had to make 5 more moves till the time control. And Khurana said that here he burned almost all his time to make knight d5 work. And then he said there is rook g1 check. But at this moment in the analysis he was rudely interrupted by Aronian, who said that white can win on the spot here. So after c6, instead of knight d5, which Khurana tried to make work, he should play rook takes h6. And he showed this variation. Queen takes f6 check. A discovered check from the bishop to the king. Rook interposes. Queen takes queen. You have to take back with the king. The rook is pinned. And then knight c4 check. Now it's the other bishop that gives a discovered check on the king. It's a beautiful variation. King h5. And then white is going to take 2 rooks. Bishop takes d6 check. King takes, and then you take the unprotected rook on d6, and white is easily winning with his extra material. Aronian called this a very trivial win, and he made it clear that he was not very impressed that Khurana had not found it. But Khurana didn't mind because he won this game. As said, he looked at knight d5, couldn't make it work, and in the end he decided on a takes b5. He said, "In the end I decided to throw in a takes b5, which can't really hurt as my position is very solid." Aronian played rook g5 and b takes a6. Queen d8, and now Khurana went in for the kill. f6 check, knight interposes, and rook takes h6 check was the last move of the game. Aronian resigned on the 39th move. Why did he resign? Let's have a quick look. If you take the rook, then lots of it goes with check. Queen h2 check. Rook h5. Knight f5 check. King h7. Queen takes rook. King g8. And there's many wins. Knight e7 check is one of them. Let's look at one variation. Let's play it on till mate. We'll take the first line of the computer. King f8. Knight takes g6 check, f takes, and then bishop h6 check, king f7, bishop takes g6 check, king takes pawn, and mate in 2. Queen f5 check, king e7, and checkmate. Very important win for Khurana. After having lost to Sergei Karjakin in the previous round, he is back on track. These were the players during their game. Khurana on the left, Aronian on the right. This is a nice picture from the press conference. You don't have to be an expert on body language to find out who won this game and who lost this game. The results of round 13. Shahryar Mamedyarov won a big game against Alexander Grishuk and is also still in contention. Ding against Kramnik was a draw, which puts Ding out of contention. So and Karjakin played a quick draw. Karjakin is very much in contention, and we saw Caruana beating Levon Aronian. The standings. Khurana has regained the top spot by himself, 8 out of 13. And there's 2 more players who are hot on his heels. Karjakin and Mamedyarov, half a point behind. Only these 3 players can still win the tournament. Ding can mathematically get to the top by winning, and if Khurana loses, then they're both on 8 points. But Ding will have the worst tiebreak because he won less games than Khurana. If he wins in the last round, he'll have won 2 games, but Khurana already has won 4, and that's one of the tiebreakers. So Ding cannot win anymore. Grishuk is also mathematically out of the running. Kramnik with 6 points, so 5.5, and Aronian will want to forget this tournament very quickly and try again in 2 years' time. The last round will be played on Tuesday, March 27th, and we'll see Grishuk against Khurana. Grishuk with white. He has nothing more to play for. He cannot win the tournament, Grishuk. But of course for Khurana, this is the most important game of his life. Levon Aronian against Wesley So. That is a dead rubber. Nothing at stake for these 2 players apart from rating points and pride. Sergei Karjakin is the only player of the 3 players who can still win the tournament who has the white pieces in the last round. He'll play Ding Liren. And Vladimir Kramnik plays Shahryar Mamedyarov. So who's going to win? You tell me. You can win a chess book. You can win the David versus Goliath chess book. If you put in a comment saying who will win the tournament. Will it be Fabiano Caruana? Will it be Shahryar Mamedyarov? Or will it be Sergei Karjakin? If you guessed right, then you will be in the hat. I will pick out one name, one viewer who will win the chess book. And of course you have to make sure you put in your comment before round 14 starts. Otherwise you have an unfair advantage. If you don't win this time, don't worry. Also in the video I will do on round 14, I will raffle a chess book to celebrate this wonderful candidates tournament. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel. Please leave a comment. You know, you can win a chess book. Let me know who you think will win the tournament. You also may want to check out my Chess to Progress channel. The link is in the description box. I've posted 2 videos on the candidates tournament there as well. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.